Shristi Jade, nice to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Let's just jump straight into the interview. So, who is Shristi Jade?
I am a soul R&B artist from Australia, and I guess for me, it's really just about, writing honest music that is true to who I am, true to experiences that I've had, and I just love making music. So that's me.
All right, cool. Whereabouts are you from?
I am from the Sunshine Coast, which is on the east coast of Australia.
Okay. How do the two scenes differ between Australia and the UK?
I mean, it's quite different, and that's really the reason that I moved. At home, where I'm from, it's a small town, it's a beach town, and so R&B, soul, trap, all that kind of stuff is not really happening on the scene.
Yeah.
People really focus more on acoustic music, folk music, and sort of more indie.
Yeah.
So I started working with a few producers, and I had to kind of explain to them, who Janae Aiko was and like who some of my favorite artists were, and they just weren't really getting it. So I was like, I can't explain to you what I want from you. Like, you should know who these artists are and what this style of music is all about. So I was like, look, I know London's great for this kind of thing, and I have been to the UK before and kind of had a taste of the music scene, and just the kind of stuff that's mainstream here is so different to at home. So I thought the best thing for me to do was really just to come out of my comfort zone, move across the world, and see what the UK had to offer.
Fair enough. There could be an argument for you to move to the States instead. So why did you choose the UK?
I just like British people better.
Fair enough.
I've been to the States before. I've been to LA, and don't get me wrong, the scene's really good. Obviously, that's where a lot of things happen in America, but I just personally found that people that I met, not everyone obviously, but people that I met tended to be a little bit more superficial. Whereas in the UK, I just feel like people are more down to earth. Obviously, here and there, it comes down to the individual, but I like the culture here. I like the people here, and I just like it better. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The LA weather's better though.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I went in October and it was so hot. It was like 35 degrees, super nice beach weather. But also, like, when you're in the studio and it's nice outside, you're like, oh.
You don't want to record, innit?
Yeah. Whereas in London, it's always, not always, but it's generally cold, it's raining, so you're like, oh, we have to stay in the studio all day. Oh, well.
No, that's fair. I mean, it'd be fair to say the weather in the UK is not great. I wouldn't argue with that statement, to be honest. So, yeah.
It's not. But it makes up for it in other ways.
True. No, I hate that. So I've listened to a few of your songs, from Away to Own, from Best Part to Reason, and then your latest EP.
Yeah.
There seems to be like a common theme and thread throughout all of your music, which is like love, self-worth, and relationships. When you write your lyrics and create the song composition, the title, like where do you draw your experiences and your lyrics and your ideas from?
For me, I think a lot of it really comes down to personal experience. And when I released my first EP, I had just come out of a relationship that I had been in from when I was quite young. And it didn't turn out well, obviously, and I decided that I wanted to focus on myself and focus on music.
Yeah.
And so when I wrote, for example, Love Yourself, which is on the first EP, that was really when I started trying to hone in on the concept of loving yourself. And in that time, I thought, if I loved myself more, realized my worth, and only allowed things in that were in line with my worth, then this would never happen to me.
Yeah.
But actually, that was only really the start of the journey for me.
Yeah.
Because, you can say, oh, just love yourself. I think, like, there's so many quotes everywhere, on social media and online, love yourself, value yourself. But for me, I realized it's more than an individual loving yourself.
Yeah.
And I really started to understand that when I found God and understood that it's more than just about me. It's about a creation. And when he created me, there's no mistakes.
Yeah.
So it really came down to, if I don't love and value myself the way that he has created me, then I'm doing a disservice to him. So it kind of gave me this bigger picture of how things are. And so that kind of is reflected through the music. And I think it's funny though, because even when I wrote Worth's Not a Question, the latest EP, I was still away from that concept. I still hadn't really got it yet. Because I was still chasing validation and chasing love in, you know, in somebody, rather than, you know, as I said, from God, which is actually what real love is. So it was only till the end of that EP, like when I was writing the outro to the EP, that I was like, the line is, then I learned my lesson, because worth's not a question. That's really when I got to that concept. And then from there, the journey still goes. And I feel like I'm still only at the start of it.
That's fair enough. When did you finish the EP for Worth's Not a Question?
I actually finished that EP at the end of 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been finished for a while now. But it kind of just took time to finalize the recording and get in the studio. And I was also doing a lot of other projects at the time and releasing. Yeah. So for me, I was like, it just hadn't, even though it was finished a while ago, it came out later than that.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So I know you through Sean Emmanuel, who's obviously sitting to my right, from when I saw my Vocals of Verses and a few years back, and then obviously he was on The Voice and stuff. So, so how did you begin to collaborate together? What kind of created the connection you two have?
We first came together on Instagram. So when I moved to London, I was trying to look around for other artists, look around for the, who was popping on the scene. No, well, yeah, kind of. But what I was trying to do was trying to follow as many artists as I could, promoters, DJs, producers, and
you jumped into whose DMs?
Well, I followed him. And I think he went on my profile and he saw in the link on my bio was my EP, the first one. And so he listened to it and he shouted me out on his story.
Oh, nice.
And he was like, Shristi, I love Own. This is amazing. Like, seriously.
Smooth.
But like, honestly, even though like we are together now, we were friends for months first.
That's
and we worked on music together. We jammed. We hung out just as friends. So I mean, it really was the music that brought us together.
That's good. That's good. So I know you guys have collaborated on quite a few projects. You did Reason that you collaborated on and stuff. So
yes.
Oh, I like that, man. Smooth.
Yeah. Oh.
That's a fair point, actually. You haven't
I
answered
didn't
the
answer
question.
that question. So he shouted me out, and then I said, hey, thank you so much, because I was shocked. Because I was like, wait, who's shouting me out? Because it was the first project I'd ever released. So a lot of people who were following me were like, what? Like, what, you sing? What is this? And then I went on his profile. I was like, huh? Oh my goodness, what the heck? So then I said thank you, and I said, I love your stuff. Your voice is amazing, all that stuff. And I said, when I'm in London, we should meet up, collaborate, talk about music. So yeah, I was the first in the DMs.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, cool. So we'll now jump to the EP, like the actual the EP, the 3-track EP.
Yes.
Why 3?
It really came down to, it was just, the songs are each a part of the journey.
Yes.
So, like, it's funny because when I listen to the EP now, I can't believe that I wrote it. Like, I can't believe that I actually thought those things and felt that way at the time. The first song is called Deserve You, and it's about me feeling like I didn't deserve this person that I was now not with anymore. But looking back on that now, I was in such a bad way, in such a bad place, that I was blaming myself for something that they had done. So that again comes down to knowing your worth, because if I had been where I was now, say for example, I would have never even entertained the idea of that person. But I think in our culture today, women are fed this fairy tale of love and fed this fairy tale of this is how it's meant to be, and if he's this and this and this, have all these, lists of what your man's meant to be, then, you're going to be in the honeymoon phase and it's going to be great. But we don't go into a relationship and test the person and ask questions with our eyes open, like, what kind of person is this? How will they treat me? What is their family values? Like, all of these important things, because if you're not asking those questions, then you don't really know the person and you just run off with some idea.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the EP started off that way, and then the next song is called Maybe, and it's like, maybe we can work it out, maybe we can start again, like, just take me back. And, you know, I felt that way.
Yeah.
I really felt that way, but no, like, it should have never really got to that. And it was only then in the third song where I was like, wait, I was funding your dreams. I was supporting you. I stood by you even though you didn't stand by me. Like, if you had a priority list of 1 to 10, I will be like number 12.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So that's really how the EP goes. It's a journey through all of that, and then at the end it comes to the point of like, wait, your worth's not a question. You know, so yeah, that's really how it came about.
Yeah, I hear you when you talk about relationships and sort of like testing the person.
Yeah.
Because like being in one myself, like you realize over time that you kind of get past the first level.
Yeah.
You got to get a lot deeper. So I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And in regards to that, do you think people should listen to the EP more for the journey, or is there something you want them to gain from the EP?
I think it's everything. I think it's, if you listen to the EP, you'll understand how I felt at the time, what I was going through, what I was thinking. But at the same time, it's almost like I want people to hear it and to learn from my mistakes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I write music which is honest, so I know people can relate to it. And I know a lot of women around me, and not just women, anyone around me who's in a relationship or wants to be, to learn from my mistakes and to think, actually, yeah, I should go in with my eyes open. You know, it's only taken me a couple of times to figure that out, but it's a journey.
2 or 3 is not as bad as 5 or 6, so, you know, not too bad. So, with the 3 songs and with the EP finished, what's next for you?
Well, the next project I'm going to release is another duet with Emmanuel. It's kind of more of an upbeat, it's Afrobeat song actually, Afrobeat's love song.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so it's about us. It's about our story, I guess. And so it's a little bit more fun for summer. Something we're going to release it around May. So there's that, and then I'm performing. My next main performance will be at Concrete Space in Shoreditch, and it's really exciting. Actually, it's hosted by Candyman, who is a part of BBC Radio 1 and BBC Asian Network. So he's hosting a night of performances. So I'm going to be performing for that, which I'm really excited about.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
super excited.
I hope it goes really well. Cool. So who were you like your musical idols like growing up and stuff?
I grew up listening to Mariah Carey. I grew up listening to Mariah Carey, I guess, even from when I was like 2-3 years old. My dad used to play the cassette in the car. My favourite song was...
the old stereo lights player? Fair enough.
Yeah, like super old school.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
My favourite song was Hero. Yeah, so I'd be like, play the Come Along song, Dad, because she goes, when a hero comes along, obviously. Mariah Carey. I loved Brandy growing up as well. Loved her stuff. And then more recently, Jhené Aiko is one of my favourite artists.
I can see why you would have had the issue with the Australian producers, because obviously they went more into a different sort of sound and you went more to R&B and stuff.
Yeah.
Where the conflict would come from.
Exactly.
Do you ever think you'd be able to, like, in terms of your dreams, would you ever want to go back there and perform R&B and sort of bring the scene back?
I think that'd be cool. I think it would be cool to kind of go back now that I've had some more experience here and kind of, you know, do what I can to bring more awareness to this genre of music. But at the same time, like, since I've been gone, there's a couple of artists that have broken through that are doing trap and that are doing sort of more hip-hop R&B stuff, and they're doing quite well. So I think that it's starting to come about now. But when I left 2 years ago, there really wasn't much going on. So I think going back into the scene now would be pretty cool.